Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Salt Lake City. What a beautiful day to be together. Now, our friends in the Christian tradition are celebrating Christ the King Sunday today, which has always kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and maybe it does you too, until I saw a social media post this week by the Christian writer Nadia Bolz-Weber that said that the tradition was started in 1925 by Pope Pius XI as a response to the rise of fascism and totalitarianism in Europe, which means that Christ the King Sunday is an anti-fascist celebration, which means it's Antifa Sunday. So happy Antifa Sunday. If you're checking us out for the first time today, you are especially welcome. Thank you for making time on a Sunday to be with us. I invite you, if you're present with us here today, to visit our welcome table after service. If you're visiting us online, please check out our website or social media channels to find out more about our congregation and how you can be involved. I have two announcements to make today. First, we're getting ready for the holidays. Your worship team is busy planning all of the fun things that we love to do. And it's like that old song, "This year we need a little Christmas," right? So we're working on it. We're also working on solstice, which people love. We celebrate it here at First Church on the 21st of December. And we want to change it up a little bit this year, and we want you to be involved. So if solstice worship is something that you love, if it's your favorite time of the year, please send Reverend Ian an email. Let him know that you'd like to be involved, and we'll reach out to you. And second, we still have some items that are available for bid with our auction, which was a fantastic success. It was so great. But we still have some items, and guess what? There's no shipping delays on items that are for sale in the auction. So we're going to send you out a special email on Friday, Black Friday. You don't even have to leave your house and hit the stores. You can just open up your email, take a look at some of the great pictures from our live event at the Marriott, and also see what's available for bidding. And thank you for supporting that. When Unitarian Universalists meet, we meet around the chalice flame, which kindles in us our values of freedom, community, and covenant. Let us light our chalice today with these words by the Reverend Deborah Hafner. Now, this is an interactive chalice lighting. Are you ready to help? Yes. All right, here we go. May we whisper thank you for all that is good in our lives. May we shout thank you for the abundance of blessings. Thank you. Yes. May we feel thank you, thank you, thank you, deep within our hearts and around us right now. May we be thankful down to our bones for this time together. May we take the time to feed each other, take care of each other, appreciate and trust each other, and say thank you. It is the only prayer we will ever need.
Driving on a snowy day in 1984, I found myself skidding slowly off the highway. The Chrysler headed across the median and stopped, blocking the two opposite lanes of traffic. Then it rolled on the passenger side, onto the roof, and landed with the underside and its gas tank facing oncoming traffic. The moment I had touched the brake on the downward slope, I had no longer control. The laws of physics took over. As I peered out the shattered, now vertical windshield, I saw a car coming up the slope towards me. Then it stopped. A motorist got out, came over, grabbed the laminated glass in his bare hands, and ripped the windshield out. I undid my seatbelt, stood up, and walked out the opening. More cars stopped. People got out and stood around me, concerned. A highway patrolman arrived, issued a warning, and took me home. Last summer, I had another brush with death. Not my death, but that of my husband, partner, and best friend for almost 60 years. Harold's health started skidding slowly due to diabetes in 1998. Then faster in the last 4 years, with successive disabling health crises. He tried to steer out of the skid, and I tried to case manage his medical care. His trips to all kinds of specialists, his 17 prescriptions, his special foods, his walks to the corner with a cane. I logged his calories, his water, his IV rehydration bags. And he tried to follow the recommendations while fighting intense vertigo and nausea. Finally, nothing helped. The laws of physiology took over. He was bedfast, eating and drinking less and less, and losing more and more weight. MRIs showed that diabetes was breaking down the microscopic blood vessels in his brain. Harold, a glass half full kind of guy, always said, "I just want to get back the way I was." On June 24th, he went on hospice, mainly to give me a break. St. Joseph's Villa took care of him for 5 days while I rested. Back home, the stronger hospice meds helped the vertigo and nausea, but made him drowsy. He kept getting weaker. He started sleeping all day. Yet we thought he could still hear us talk to him the morning of July 15th. He died that afternoon. Impossible. Him gone? Each time I passed his room, my mind screamed, "No." Horror rose in my throat. A pall of exhaustion fell over me. I was in free fall. But I was not alone. A beloved community caught me and held me up until I could find a new footing. My son and daughter stage managed the next 6 weeks. The Caring Network brought exquisite comfort food. Dozens of you showered us with sympathy. The ministry team created a moving memorial service. A chaplain, a social worker, and friends came to visit. The University School of Nursing provided a grief support group, showing us how to make intentional times to invite the grief to come. So now, as I listen to Harold's favorite Chopin piano concerto, the pain of loss is joined by feelings of joy at having known him. Help has come, just as it did in that overturned Chrysler. Many hands have helped tear away my shattered view of the world. Just as that broken windshield was cleared away on that day on the highway. I survived both of these brushes with death because I was part of a trustworthy, interconnected social web. The accident car had a seatbelt because activists had lobbied for them. People were kind because they grew up in nurturing families and communities. Since turning 80 this month, I realized that every day is a gift, a new chance to invest time, talent, and treasure in nurturing that trustworthy web as part of a family, a neighborhood, a church, a community, a species. Everything I care about depends on those reciprocal bonds of trust. And even though our brushes with death will finally become an embrace, that beautiful web of existence will live on, enriched, I trust, by the lives we have lived.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. We gather this morning in a moment of contradictions. We gather in grief that once again, unsurprisingly, what is called the justice system in our nation has worked exactly as it was designed, to support the systemic evil of white supremacy. We gather in grief on this weekend when we remember our trans siblings who were killed for being who they are. We grieve that we have to have such a remembrance like that every year. Our American Thanksgiving commemorates the first encounter between European pilgrims and the people of the first light, the Mashpee Wampanoag people, an encounter which led to centuries of genocide. Layers upon layers of grief, and yet beauty is all around us. Joy is as close as our own breath. Our breath, which has become so precious to us these past 2 years, something not to be taken for granted. To breathe, to feel, to share a meal, to have a chance to love and to give thanks, just to be able to say thanks is itself worthy of gratitude. I'm generally resistant to what's often called gratitude practice. I have friends who journal their gratitude every day, either when they go to bed, thinking back over the day, or when they awake, beginning their day with gratitude. Other friends document their gratitude on social media with hashtags like YOG, Year of Gratitude. I admire the discipline, I truly do. But I feel ambivalent about giving thanks for things, as if I weren't in the top 5% of global wealth just by virtue of owning a television and a car. But this hymn reminds me of what's worth my gratitude. This moment, these people, this feeling. Everything I need is right here with me now. Everything that is truly mine is so valuable that sometimes it brings me to my knees with gratitude. Everything else is window dressing. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Many thanks to Carole Straughn for sharing her wonderful words with us. Carole has been participating in our lay ministry program, where Reverend Ian has been teaching the art and craft of homiletics, preaching, and our speakers have been wonderful so far, and I can't wait to hear the rest. Carole, thank you for being so brave. Really appreciate it. Our church gratefully accepts a portion of your window dressing, as we are entirely supported by the generosity of our family and friends. Your gifts keep our church thriving and doing good in the world, so thank you for giving generously. You can do so by scanning the bookmark with the QR code in the seat in front of you, or today we are also accepting cash and checks as well. As we pause for this offertory, I invite you to turn to the person next to you and tell them why you're grateful for them. And if you're sitting next to someone you don't know, maybe a visitor or a new friend, maybe tell them why you're grateful for this church.
So I'd like to begin today's sermon with a passage from Charles Eisenstein, who some of you may know. He says, "We did not earn any of the things that really keep us alive or that make life good. We didn't earn the air. We didn't earn being born. We didn't earn our conception. We didn't earn being able to breathe. We didn't earn having a planet that can provide food. We didn't earn the sun." So I think on some level, people have this inborn gratitude because on some level we know that we didn't earn anything. We know that life is a gift. If you know that you received a gift, then the natural response is gratitude and a desire to give in return. Now, he qualifies this belief by saying, on some level, we know. Because it would be easy to look around our world and find evidence of the exact opposite of what he's saying here. A person could easily look around and find not gratitude, but greed. Not a desire to give, but a desire to hoard. When Eisenstein says, on some level we know, it is because he's picking up on a conflict that we live with internally. Regardless of our backgrounds, regardless of any of the identities we hold that give our lives shape and form, regardless of any of the stories we tell that seem to make us different from all the other people around us, we are bound together by a desire to be happy. Every human shares this desire. We disagree on what being happy means and how to achieve happiness, but it's not difficult for me to say that even my enemies want only to be happy. And perhaps the conflict we feel at the center of our lives comes from knowing that we are at our happiest when we have made others happy. But simultaneously, we are afraid that no one will be there to make us happy. There is a fear that we can give our whole lives, but no one will give to us. That when we need it, we will be alone. And so we work to make sure that when that moment comes, when we are left alone, we will have enough and we won't need to depend on anyone else. That we will be enough for ourselves. When Eisenstein makes this passage, which makes Eisenstein's passage difficult to digest, particularly when he says, on some level we know that we didn't earn anything. When we spend so much of our time working, when we spend so much of our time trying to amass money, reputation, or any of the types of capital that we can store so that we have enough, it is only natural to resist this statement. What do you mean I didn't earn anything? I've worked so hard. Every day it feels like I'm working so hard. I did earn this. Why would you say that I didn't? How could you say that I didn't? And perhaps Eisenstein would phrase it differently today. There certainly are things that came out of my mouth or my pen incompletely. And there are certainly things I've changed my mind about entirely. But it's also just as likely that he would stick by these words, that for him, the first gift is so great that nothing we can do with our lives will ever which separate us from this original gift, the gift that grants us life. Intuitively, I believe that we feel the gift and that it comes with a sense of obligation. And perhaps this sense of obligation is so great that we're overwhelmed by it. And we look for ways to deny that we ever received this first gift. We don't owe the earth. The earth owes us, which leads to us doing all types of treachery to the earth because we are owed. You owe me this. This is mine. But we're not owed by the earth. We're not really owed by other people. If anything, if we live within the perspective of earning and debting, each of us is so incredibly in debt. We have been given so much, it would be impossible to ever square the accounts. We wouldn't even know how to do the accounting. We enter into these thought patterns, you gave me this, I gave you that. So now we're free from obligation from one another. But how could we possibly square the debt of being given life? What is this wild miracle that I'm able to look and speak to you? What is this? And so many people, their response has just been denial. I wasn't given anything. I don't owe anything. I don't owe the earth. I don't owe humanity. But on some level, we know this is not true, and this is where we feel the conflict, acknowledged or not. We know on some level, life is a gift. Even if so much of our culture is telling us to get as much as we can, as quickly as we can, because nothing is free. And that level where we understand that life is a gift may be deep down, but we know it's true. And we also know on some level that this means we are denying part of who we are. That within us lives a desire to show gratitude all of the time for all we have been given. If life is a gift, and the natural response to a gift is to show gratitude, then what happens when we are not walking through the world this way, sharing this response. It means you are not sharing part of yourself, that part of you that is the gift back to the world. There is a space in our hearts that says, I am here to do something glorious. This doesn't mean leading a revolution. It literally means the glory of being present to another person, right? I am here to be glorious. But, I feel this conflict because I live in a world of credits and debits, of wages and expenses, where I am measured by what I earn and save and not by what I give. So how do we share our gift with the world, the gift that calls out from the space within us that is just so grateful for being alive? Grateful for all of those things we did not earn and are completely incapable of earning or paying back. I did not earn the sun. How could I ever square that account? I am so grateful. How could I possibly show my gratitude for the sun? For me, personally, it's praise, but it's such a wild thing. Eisenstein travels quite a lot, speaking to different groups, and he often asks them what they're missing from their lives. And the most common answer is community. Community, he writes, is nearly impossible in a highly monetized society like our own. Because community is woven from gifts. And it's funny when he says this, I was reflecting on this in the first part of the service. It makes so much sense for this line, right, for people who don't go to church. Because church literally is the gift of gratitude woven together, right? Carole's homily to you today was literally a gift from her life to you, freely given. No exchange, no barter. And that is what church is. But community, he writes, is nearly impossible in a highly monetized society. That space out there. And what I think he means is that we miss living in the state of mutually interdependent gratitude. That the real relationships that we seek, that we long for, are the ones that are built upon the gifts that occur when you give me and I gratefully receive, and I give to you and you gratefully receive, not as barter, not as exchange, simply as offering. Many of us who live in this part of the world have everything we need. Relative to other nations, our standard of living is phenomenal. And much has been made about the 1% of society, the uber rich, and their hoarding and their selfishness. But many of us who live much further down the scale still have so much. Living paycheck to paycheck in Salt Lake City is stressful. And one paycheck is more than many of the world's people will earn all year. This privileged position has allowed us to follow a narrative of self-sufficiency down a rabbit hole, only to find that what we really want is not self-sufficiency, but community. To live within an indebted system, which sounds weird because we're taught not to want debt. But actually, I think we do. A system where you gratefully give to me and I gratefully give to you. Our recent ancestors told us that independence is what will make us happy, and they placed a high value on being industrious, self-supporting, and wealthy. And we did this very well. which makes it so confusing when we look around and wonder why we aren't happier. We succeeded, only to find that we didn't. What our experience tells us is that interdependence is what actually makes us happy. To be held, to be embraced. We have created a life where we have so much money, we don't need anyone else. We can hire or fire people. We can buy labor. We can buy companionship. And if we don't like what we get, we just go buy more. Everything we want is for sale, but everything we need, those things that bring us deeper into relationship with humanity and the planet, can only be attained by giving and receiving, by practicing gratitude. Happiness doesn't make grateful people. Being grateful is what makes us happy. We experience gratefulness when we receive gifts authentically and we give in return, not as barter, not as exchange, just as offering. At this time of year, there's so much talk about gratitude and the recognition of all that we have. Thanksgiving, personally speaking, has been my favorite holiday, in no small part because it's so hard to commercialize, to make a commodity out of it, right? The cranberries and the turkey, sure, that's purchased in record amounts, but most of the meals that we're going to share over this next week will be potlucks, where everybody is bringing a little bit of themselves, right? Someone will be in charge of the turkey, or tofurkey, in my case, right? Someone will be in charge of that, but everybody's going to bring the beans or the squash. Like, it becomes a gift encounter. And then we will give one another the full attention of our lives. Right? It's hard to figure out what to sell to make this more meaningful, which has been frustrating to a lot of merchants, which I think is why they came up with Black Friday, right? Which will make the news for aggressiveness, as people fight one another over things that they think will make them happy. Even though just the day before, many of them experienced happiness for real. So at this time of year, it's common to speak as if we're hopping between islands of gratitude that keep us safe in this sort of sea of turmoil that's out there. But it's possible to look beyond the isolated incidents or encounters and live gratefully. Brother David Steindl-Rast points out that we can do this by becoming aware that every moment is a given moment, that every moment is a gift we have not earned, that we have not brought about in any way. This moment. And in this moment, there is an opportunity. There is a gift within the gift. And he reminds us of this old idiom, opportunity only knocks once, and he's very quick to reply how incorrect that idiom is. If you miss the opportunity in this moment, there is another moment right after it, which is also given to us freely. And we can seize these moments or we can miss them. And those moments seized make something of our lives. And those moments missed, well, we get another opportunity. Opportunity knocks all the time. It is continuously knocking. We live in a given state. So we look for the opportunity to make others happy. because we ourselves are happiest when all of us are happy. This is what all humans want. When we are open to these opportunities, the opportunity of every moment, we are invited to do something, to be someone, to show our gratitude for the glory of being alive. Now, this holiday is complicated for many of us. For some of you, family is what you have been waiting for all year. And for others, it will be spent with friends, because family is more than you can do right now. But wherever you go, you can practice living grateful lives by looking for the opportunity in every moment to create community that comes from the giving and receiving, that is not exchange, that is not barter, that is just offertory. We will not seize on every moment, but there will always be another one for us to try for. You are here to bring something glorious into the world. You have a gift, your presence. Share yourself, that part of yourself that is impossible to sell, that is impossible to buy. Your thanksgiving for being alive. And together, we will walk towards that more beautiful world we know is possible. Amen.
How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Source of life, God, my darling. Let us leave this sacred rehearsal and shine our gift into the world so we might witness and treasure the worth and the dignity inherent in every being, that which is not earned, but just given. And awaken us to the great interwovenness, the great connectedness, beyond birth, beyond death, the existence of the one being that binds us all. And fill us with grace as we try to lay down our fear so that we can become part of the great embrace for those who need a gift, who need love, who need being held. Amen. And just a grateful moment of gratitude for our cantors, right? The Gandys and Pauline, and for David guiding us. Truly, this is also just a gift, right? People who get up and sing us into community. Thank you so much, all of you. The service has ended. There's a welcome table out here in Elliott Hall. Please join us, and thank you so much for coming. If I don't see you before the holiday, happy Thanksgiving.